Yeah, it's the Hulk, the big green fighting machine. Well, maybe not now, maybe he's not what he used to be, but back in his prime, look out. But today, well, there's a team assembling from across the multiverse ready to take him on. They're strong, they're fast, they're agile, they're all wearing color coordinated matching outfits. It's the Spider-Man, the Spider Gang, the Spider Trio. Either way, they're taking on the Hulk. So, who's coming out on top here? Can Hulk handle all the quips and the jokes that are going to be thrown his way? Can Spider Man handle all the massive green punches that are going to be thrown their way? Let's figure it out. Let's dive into the battle arena and get into this one. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to DanCo with the notifications on. We always really appreciate the support. Okay, and as we're getting started here breaking down this fight, looking into these heroes, the first thing that I want to talk about is strength. And oh wow, look at that. Surprise, surprise, Hulk is stronger. The edge goes to him here. Who could have ever seen that one coming? Yeah, Hulk is crazy strong. He's stronger than Thor, even if Thor doesn't really want to admit it. It takes two hands for Thor just to catch one of Hulk's punches. And you can't say the same in reverse. Hulk was regularly sending Thor flying all around, smashing up him and his brother. So yeah, Hulk might not be the most popular guy in the Odinson household. And Thor wasn't the only guy Hulk has sent flying. I mean, just ask Ultron how hard Hulk can hit. Just ask Abomination what it's like to tangle with the Hulk. Hulk regularly fought against the military and smashed up all their equipment, all their trucks, and their tanks, and their weapons, and everything. He straight up yeeted Emil Blonsky straight across the yard. Like, holy shit, Hulk will just straight up kill a guy. He's got absolutely no chill. Imagine that with Spider-Man here. Peter is swinging around right in the middle of a Jolly Green Giant joke, and then Hulk just freaking obliterates him, punches him straight into a tree, and breaks every bone in his body. You spend the next few months in a body cast, have to relearn how to walk again, and you know Pete doesn't have health insurance, so that's going to be expensive, put him in debt for the next few decades. But clearly, Hulk doesn't care. He'll do it anyways. And I mean, just look at the way that Hulk completely decked a big old giant Leviathan. He did that with just one punch. You and I both absolutely know that Spider Man is never even getting close to replicating that. Even if they all team up at once and do a super mega combo punch, still not even close to doing this. And the thing is, it's actually pretty consistent for Hulk to do stuff like this. I mean, just ask Surtur. Just look at how he's messing around with other Leviathans in the same fight. Hulk is far and away the strongest one here. That was always a given from the get go. What's not really clear is that the Spider Men are strong enough to injure the Hulk. I think that's the real question here, so we gotta flip it around. Well, let's take a look at probably the weakest Spider Man. This guy, Andrew, made a strong case for the best Spider Man in No Way Home, but still the weakest. I guess great character development and acting doesn't equal out to bigger muscles. But still, he's strong enough to fight against Lizard, strong enough to catch cars and everything like that. He's definitely not weak, but I don't really think you can say he'll do much against Hulk, just because the strongest guy he's fought against is Lizard. And you can't compare this guy to this guy in any real way. So that means that you're really banking on these two other Spider-Men will do anything to Hulk here. And Toby can throw some punches. I mean, God, poor Flash, poor Bonesaw. Those guys never had a chance. He can fight with Green Goblin. He can fight with Sandman and Venom. He can even straight up overpower other Spider-Men. He's held up a giant wall and just held it. And held it. And held it. Because Mary Jane wouldn't freaking try and get out of the way. He's held up a trolley car filled with little children. Then, of course, there was that time where he full on stopped a speeding train, just brought it to a dead halt with nothing but his straight strength and a few webs. And you can't tell me that he didn't pass something while he was doing that too. I mean, just look at that face. And then there's Tom, and I think he's making a good case to kind of firmly cement himself as the strongest Spider Man. Of course, that's just my opinion, but I guess I technically do this for a living, so does that mean it's my expert opinion? I don't know. You'll decide. Hit the subscribe button. But so Spider Man has fought against all the Spider Man villains you could possibly want him to. Watching him absolutely clobber the ever living daylights out of Green Goblin was legit a life altering experience, but really his strength has been clear since the very beginning. I mean, all the way back in Civil War, Spider Man was staggering Giant Man, basically the dollar store version of what Hulk did to Surtur. Also, have you ever thought about how weird Civil War must have been from Peter's perspective? Like, you're 14 years old, you're posting videos on YouTube of you doing flips and tricks and cool stuff. Then a few months later, basically, Elon Musk shows up in your bedroom and tries to get you to fly to another country or to fist fight his coworkers. Must have just been truly bizarre. But so he's done that, and then while he's easily brought down construction cranes, held up parts of buildings, he can easily carry around the cars. He even held together a whole ferry ship and stopped it from sinking, at least for a second. Then, last but not least, while he was able to square up with Cole Obsidian, Thanos' heavy muscle, the guy who was able to fight against Hulkbuster, the guy who at least thought he could go against the actual Hulk, before Thanos beat the absolute crap out of the Hulk. Yeah, Spider Man was regularly able to match up against this guy and knock him around. So, are these Spider Men stronger than Hulk? No, absolutely not. Are they strong enough to injure the Hulk? I'm not sure just yet. We'll have to talk about durability next. But what I do know is that they're strong enough to stagger the Hulk, to knock him down, to knock him around. They're definitely strong enough to do that. And considering that, like, my arm would probably explode into a million pieces if I even tried to punch Hulk, well, that's pretty impressive. But yeah, let's circle back to the real question here. Can they injure Hulk? How durable is the Hulk? Probably even more important than that, while we know Hulk can hurt each Pete with a punch, just how many punches can each one of them take? How durable are the Spider-Men? Well, Hulk is insanely durable. I mean, sure, he might have had a low showing against Thanos, but I think that's actually just a lot more impressive for Thanos. It shows just how powerful Thanos is, rather than showing just how weak and puny Hulk is. I also think there's an element of bad writing here, and that's kind of skewed our perspective. Like, let's say that Thanos still beat the absolute crap out of the Hulk, still knocked Hulk out exactly like he did. All that still happens. But then Hulk explodes out of Hulkbuster at the end like he was supposed to. Absolutely bodies Cole Obsidian. Then fights against Thanos again and does better the second time around. Not even saying he wins the fight, he just does better. Don't you think we'd all give a little more grace to Hulk for losing to Thanos the first time? Instead, we got this. We somehow ended up here, and since this was the last time we really saw Hulk, like actually being the Hulk, it left a different impression. Because, yeah, like I said, don't let this one thing fool you. Hulk is crazy tough. He's taken attacks from Thor, he's taken attacks from Abomination, he took a ton of attacks from Hulkbuster. Acted like none of them even really bothered him that much. Dazed him a little bit, sure, but nowhere close to actually putting him down. I mean, even these attacks from Thor, when he was tapping into his true godhood, like straight up divine power, Hulk was back at it. Hulk technically knocked Thor out in that fight. He fell from miles up in the air and crash landed. Was knocked out, but still survived. Was rammed through like 50 floors and had a skyscraper crash down on top of him. Was only knocked out by a sucker punch. See, I don't think I'm exaggerating here. I just want to make sure my point is clear. Hulk is really durable. It's going to be really hard to injure him. But then again, the Spider-Man kind of have a knack for taking a punch. They can take some hits and not go down. Toby fought against Green Goblin and Doc Ock and Venom. He took attacks from all of those guys. Some pretty serious attacks sometimes, like bombs to the face, kind of serious. They're probably the closest thing that scales to getting hit by the Hulk was when he was hit by a giant Sandman. And he was actually able to take a few of these, which is just, yeah, it's impressive. He might have been taken out for a second, but I mean, literally a second. Only needed a little bit to catch his breath, then was right back in the fight. So, what about this Spider Man? Well, just like strength, he doesn't have the same kind of showings as the other two. Not saying he's not tough, I'm sure he is. No Way Home painted a pretty clear picture that the three Spider-Man were really pretty much equals in a lot of ways. It's just that Spider-Man doesn't have the most impressive villains to pull from, especially when you're comparing to the Hulk. Then there's this guy, and he's got some real impressive durability. I mean, just outside of a savage fight against Green Goblin, well, he's fought against pretty much every other Spider Man villain, too. He took attacks from most all of them. But yeah, that's not really what I'm banking on here. Pete was full on run over by a train. He took some swats from Giant Man and was sent flying. He started an airplane crash while he was just out there dangling on the outside of the plane. And dude even went up against Thanos. You think he can't take a punch from the Hulk? Well, he took one from Thanos, so I'm betting he can. But while the question still is who's more durable, another way to look at that is whose durability is going to give out first. And I think that's clearly the Spider Man. Not just because Hulk is tougher, even though he is, but also because he's just going to be dishing out so much more powerful attacks. Like it's going to take 10, 20, 50 punches from the Spider-Man to equal out to what Hulk can do with just one punch. So yeah, especially when you look at it from that perspective, it's pretty clear who's got the leg up. But then the spiders, well, their biggest advantage, obviously, is their speed and their agility. Just zipping and zapping and dipping and dodging and ducking and just web slinging all around. They're going to be a pain for Hulk to hit. And they're going to be landing so many more attacks in the fight. That's for sure. I mean, all these guys can easily dodge bullets. They're all certified lightning dodgers. They're all really, really fast. I don't know what else to say about it. Don't know how else to put it. They're just fast. They're just agile. But here's the thing. They still got to get in close to the Hulk to land any decent punches. And while they do have the advantage of sneak attacks and triple teaming him and everything like that, this is also where it gets tricky. This is the danger zone. Because if they can get their hands on Hulk, well, that means that Hulk can get his hands on them. And he's fast enough to do it. He might not be able to keep up with all their spins and flips and web slinging from a distance, even though he's practiced parkour a time or two in the past. In a close up moment, Hulk is fast enough to grab them. I mean, he's caught Mjolnir. He's caught a pilot when he hit the ejector seat. He even landed an attack on Abomination that basically turned Abomination into a statue. And Abomination isn't slow. He's fast enough to grab a missile out of the air. And yeah, it'll definitely be hard for him to catch three superhumans with webs and precognitive abilities with spider senses. But if he can, well, look out. And you might be asking, what about the web slingers? That'll help in the fight, right? And I mean, yeah, they're there, but that's about all there is to it. Lizard is able to rip out of the webs. Doc Ock can tear apart the webs. I guess if they all teamed up and just sprayed and sprayed and sprayed him, they could hope to contain him for what, a few seconds, maybe? I mean, Hulk burst out of a cage designed by Iron Man to hold him in a few seconds. Hulk is going to tear through the webs just like if it was a literal spider web. Yeah, I don't think the webs are the answer here. I mean, what were we even hoping for with that? They wrap him up like a pinata, dangle him off a skyscraper, and just take turns beating the crap out of him? That was never going to happen. That was never going to be in the cards. I love the Spider-Man. They're some of my favorite heroes. But look at this. Hulk is stronger, Hulk is tougher by like a huge margin. The Spider-Men are way faster and more agile, again by a huge margin. But you gotta have strength and toughness as bigger factors here in the fight. You just gotta. So who's coming out on top here? Well, isn't it pretty obvious? Hulk wins.